Alright guys, in this video I'm going to talk to you about everything about getting an apartment rental here in the Philippines. Stick around. Alright, so I'm at this new location in Dumaguete. I don't know if it even has a name to it. It's in front of the Dumaguete Hotel, Bugla's Isla Cafe, but they have some Western style type foods and coffee, and I'll show you the place real quick here. So they've got bratwurst. I'll have to come back and try that. They have a coffee place. Cold beer and beverages. And Singaporean noodles and souvlaki. I don't even know what that is. From Greek sandwiches and different sauces and fries. So here is the place. There's Maya just chilling out. It doesn't open till 1:30 on weekdays. But I digress. We will get back to the topic on hand. Everything about apartment rentals. So I guess the first thing you would want to know is how to find one. What's the best way to find an apartment rental? You know, and when I say apartment rental, I'm talking about like condos and things like that. Now, there's a few different ways. Facebook Marketplace is probably one of the most popular ways. And I find just going on there and saying, I'm looking for a one bedroom, 15K to 20K range, or up to 20K or up to 30K, whatever you're looking for, advertise, and you'll have people contact you. And that seems to be the best way. Facebook Marketplace, you just type in the city of where you're going to be, and that's a good way. And also rentpad.com is another good one, but that's only in the big cities like Davao, Cebu, Manila, some other locations. Also, you can go to just the condo building and go to the front desk and ask if they have some units, and they can put you in touch with an agent. Finding an agent sometimes is a good way to also find a condo. Now, I've used all of those different methods. And once you do find one, you want to negotiate. And negotiating is probably the most important thing, especially here in the Philippines. It's almost expected that there's going to be some type of negotiation. You know, my very first condo that I rented here in the Philippines, I didn't negotiate anything. They asked for this deposit, this much monthly rent, and that's what I paid. I was kind of blind going into it, but I have learned since that you negotiate. You can negotiate on several different things. The main one for me is the deposit. That is what I like to negotiate on the most. What I like to do is never pay more than a 1 month deposit. So I fight hard for the 1 month deposit only, because I feel like if something happens, I can walk away from it, and you know, I figure by the end of the month or beginning of the next month, they're just going to be taking out the electric, internet, water from that anyway, and what's left I'm not going to cry over. So that's why I negotiate hard on just a 1 month deposit, and I would advise the same. The other thing you can negotiate on is the actual price of the rent, and you can negotiate on all these different things. Now, sometimes they don't budge. Sometimes they know they have a killer unit or apartment or house rental, and they just don't want to budge. So at that point, then you can negotiate on maybe items in the house. Like, for example, okay, it's a 1 month deposit, 1 month upfront, but you could say, hey, can you upgrade the TV in the living room to a bigger TV? I will take the place if you upgrade to a bigger TV. And then you can do that. So that's what I mean by negotiate. And you could, again, select one of those, deposit the most important for me, or a combination of all three. By the way, guys, I do want to mention that Surfshark VPN is an important thing to have before you even get out to the Philippines. You can save 83% today by signing up on my link down in the description. It enables you to surf securely and make sure all your banking, all your personal websites with financial information on it are secure, and also you can see your own lineup of different TV shows from your home country. Sign up today. Now the lease agreement, before you even sign the lease, you want to get a copy of it, and you know, a month before, a couple weeks before, whatever, look it over, make sure there's nothing crazy in there, and then, you know, sign it. Don't ever just sign it on a whim. Making rent payments, usually in the Philippines you can do it a variety of different methods. Usually you can just pay cash, they will come, and you can do it that way. I've also had some that would accept Gcash. Also you could do just where they want you to deposit the money into their bank account. They will give you their account number, bank, and their name, and you go there and deposit it. Take a picture of the deposit slip, send it to them on proof that you've deposited. Also making payments on utilities. You can do all of that through Gcash. You'd want to sign up with a Gcash account. You need a Philippines phone number for that. You can see my Gcash video up above for that. But utilities, if at all possible, this is one of the things you may want to negotiate, but it's much better to have everything in the landlord's name and just make the monthly payments to them directly, like the internet, the electric, the water, all of that. Try not to have any of that stuff in your name. It'll just be a little bit of a headache to have that all set up in your name. Much harder to just pick up and go if you wanted to go somewhere else new. The walkthrough, when you're walking through, before you sign the lease, do a walkthrough with the owner or an agent or somebody. And the walkthrough, you want to film it and then notate everything that you find wrong. Do an inventory of everything they have. You know, okay, one TV in the living room, one dining room table, one sofa. Film, do the condition, everything. You spot anything out of order, film it, and make a note of it, and maybe write it down. And before you sign the lease, make sure the owner acknowledges that there's some damage there. Now when you move out, you want to do the same process. You want to do a walkthrough, filming everything. That way you could compare side-by-side notes later from the old film to the new one. If they try to come back and say, hey, you caused damage to this, you could go back to the original video and say, it was already like this. Here's the video from a year ago when I moved in. If at all possible, if you're not totally sure about a place, I always say start off with like a shorter lease if you can, like 6 months, and even you can even negotiate. I've had people negotiate 3 months and things like that. So it's all possible. Anything's possible. Try not to do a year lease until you've vetted the place. Once you've been there maybe 6 months and you know you're happy there and it's good, you're good to go, then you may want to do that. Getting your deposit back. This is why it's important to negotiate to only have 1 month, because deposits in the Philippines, the majority of the time you can wave them goodbye. Now I've had some luck. I've gotten deposits back, and I've also lost some, but it goes back to that 1 month deposit. By the time they subtract everything they're going to subtract, like the water, the internet, the electric, you know, there may not be a whole lot left, and you're not too worried about it. And you could, in the middle of a lease, you know, for example, you could be in a lease and you're just not happy with your neighbors or dogs or karaoke next door or whatever, you know, you could pick up and just go. And I've done that before. I've broken a lease and just done that. So I'll end it with just a few personal stories of places that I've rented. The first place I rented in the Philippines, I did a 6-month lease. I had jumped into that. That's the one where I didn't negotiate at all. But I think I only had a 1-month deposit, so it wasn't the end of the world. I just decided to leave. Informed them, and they said, well, you're going to lose your deposit. And I said, that's fine. I found a place that's less expensive, and I'll make it up anyway just for less expensive rent. And so I left that place. And then I was in a place for about 1.5 years, and I was quite happy there. And this was in Cebu. But the problem was that at the end of it, every time I had any problem in the condo, I'd call them up and he would come and fix it, no problem. Guess what? When it came time to move out, all those things that he came and fixed, he subtracted from the deposit. And that was a surprise because I wasn't expecting that. Some of that just seemed like normal wear and tear, but he subtracted it, so I wasn't too thrilled about that one. Another one I had in Davao, which I broke the lease, and I had actually negotiated where I only pay a half a month deposit. So by the time they subtracted utilities, internet, and water and all that, it turned out to be almost a break-even point anyway. So I guess if I had some valuable tips to give somebody, for me it all comes down to the deposit. It really does. It comes down to the deposit. Filming the move-in is crucial, and negotiate. So guys, if you have any questions, you can also check out my accompanying article on my website, geoandthephilippines.com. There's an article a little bit more in depth about this. And you can check out my Geo Travel Essentials, where you can shop for some of the things that I highly recommend for living and moving out to the Philippines, and even sign up for a consultation if you're unsure and you have some questions about traveling here or moving here. I'd be glad to help you. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye.